Overwatch is the newest game made by Blizzard that is a colourful team-based shooter like Team Fortress 2. And no, do not play the TF2 drinking game or you will be dead by the end of this video. And then you wouldn't get to experience this amazing game for yourself. So the other week, I did a let's look at of the open beta, and I really enjoyed it. I did find some things that could have been better, but it was a great experience, and it was enough to even make me stump up for the special edition, with the soundtrack and the statue and stuff. And from this and Battleborn's open beta, I would love to see more companies go back to their old ways of full-on demos. And like how in the old days you could play all of Warp Room 1 on Crash 3 on the Spyro disc, or how you could play the first 3 levels of Duke Nukem 3D in their demo. Like Nintendo, you're hyping up Zelda U and showing it off at E3. Put that shit on the eShop right after E3 and give everyone like a good taster of it. It don't have to be the whole map, you know. Just the Deku Forest and Hyrule Town and a few caves in between. Just to give everyone a taster, like Overwatch here did, and everyone would be all over that. But, going back into Overwatch, let's skim over the stuff I covered in the beta, as there have been changes for the better and a few things they have left alone. So we will go through them first, and then we will get into the more scrupulous bits that certain people are criticising, including myself. So first off, the graphics. They are fantastic. Everything is very bright and colourful and really gives it that Team Fortress 2 vibe. And as of the final release, all the graphical issues have been polished out. During the beta, I talked about how the skyboxes in the background have a tiny bit of artifacting and genuinely look lower quality than the rest of it. But it seems that now they are a lot more textured and of a higher quality. And it's great as the colourful landscapes, backgrounds and colourful attacks complement the fun, frantic, fast-paced gameplay very well. As for the running stuff, I'm pleased to say that even on the PS4, the version I'm playing, the PS4 version runs at 1080p 60 FPS with no frame rate dips or issues at all, barring when the match ends and everything has to slow down just for a few seconds so the computer can tally up the scores and work out who got player of the game. But that's only like 3 seconds at the end, so not really noticeable. And through the entire match, the most important part, it's fine. As for the music, it's good if you got the soundtrack or find it for download, then it's worth it. But in-game, it's quite hard to hear without changing the audio settings, as on default settings, you will only tangentially hear it. There will be noise, but then with everyone shouting out their specials and the gunfire, it's just like, justice reigns from above! It's high noon. Heroes never die! So it's very hard to hear, and you need to have at least some voices on so that you know when people are doing their ultimates and who is doing what and what to avoid. So the music is good, but it's hardish to hear in the game. As for the gameplay itself, you'll probably need to go watch an in-depth look from someone else. There are 21 different classes that all play vastly differently. So in terms of character gameplay, or who is the best to use, it's honestly best to either watch an in-depth character breakdown thing, or just play it for yourself and find out who you're best at. But in terms of main gameplay, it's very much like Team Fortress 2. So it's a team-based shooter, 6 versus 6, with you picking the class you like best and working with your team to clear the objective. Sometimes you'll be attacking to capture a point, sometimes you'll be moving a van, sometimes you'll be defending a certain point, sometimes both teams are attacking and have to hold a gold area of the map till your team's bar hits 100%. So there are several different modes that change at random every match. And as I say, it's very fast paced and frantic. There is a lot of stuff going on around you. so you have to be on your toes all of the time. But I think that it's that chaos that really adds to the fun, and for the most part, every death feels like it's your fault. Every character, bar one, has been rebalanced and balanced against every other character. So when you do die and you watch the kill cam, you feel as if you were more outplayed rather than the typical, "That's bullshit." Except for Bastion the robot. He is the most overpowered asshole in the game, and even complaining about him in the beta, he's still not been rebalanced. I say this because he can turn into a Gatling gun turret, and once he's in a good position, it's more or less decided that you're going to lose, as that gun drains your health instantly. You can't get near him, and even if you do land a shot on him, he can heal himself at a fast rate. And if there's an angel girl buffing him, forget it. He's invincible. It's like having Red Heavy, you know, the one where the medic is powering him up, except that never runs out. And most of the time, you will see Bastion as the player of the match or in the top 4. So he really needs rebalancing. And I'm pleased to say, for all you console scrubs out there, like me, that this game works perfectly with a controller. In fact, I would say it works far better with a controller than it does with a keyboard and mouse. The fire button is a trigger button, and the specials are the other trigger buttons. X/A to jump, it all feels very comfortable and natural, even more so than a keyboard and mouse. To me, there are games that work with one or the other. I've played Enter the Gungeon, and it can use keyboard or controller. I've used both, and I don't know how people can use a controller on that thing. Moving the mouse over the bullet man, left click to shoot, right click to dodge roll, it feels more natural for Gungeon. So to me, here, it feels that Overwatch is more focused towards a controller and feels a lot more natural using a controller than it does keyboard and mouse. However, now we must move into the more dubious stuff that will drag the experience and the game score down slightly. First off, this game is not £45, $60. There is a secret hidden caveat that the beta fails to mention. That is, you need a subscription to play. You see, on the open beta, it's like, hey, play it for free, online, as much as you want. But when you get it home, you can see here that that's no longer allowed. Sorry, but you need a PlayStation Network subscription to do this, which for a year is another £40, $50. So in reality, you're looking closer to £80, $100. Very nice of Blizzard to forgo that statement, yes? Nowhere in the beta or at the store does anyone say, hey, you need a subscription for this thing, be it PSN, Xbox Live, or a Blizzard subscription account thing, or whatever they do on PC for their games like World of Warcraft. Scummy shit, Blizzard. A warning would have been nice. But hey, whatever. Most people have a subscription anyway. But be very aware. If you don't have a subscription, then you have wasted $60 until you get one. As for the other scummy thing, I'm of two minds of this. You see, Overwatch has microtransactions, and because of this, a lot of people like Jim Sterling have disqualified it from their Game of the Year, which, upon further analysis of this, I think is a pretty petty thing to do. Yes, at one point I did it myself, but in looking at all the elements of a game as a whole, one element should not drop something from an end of the year award. So, I'm sorry Jim, you're wrong. Now, let's make it clear. Microtransactions in $60 games are absolute shit, and it's for the most part unacceptable. However, I'm making it a new rule that while unacceptable for the most part, and you will be called out for it, it will not diminish nor disqualify a game if the microtransaction itself has no impact on the game. As a player of Team Fortress 2 and a watcher of friends who have played things like CSGO, it's clear why these microtransactions are here. They are here only for the YouTubers and the streamers. The loot system is perfectly balanced in a way that has no impact on the game whatsoever, or the players. You level up at a decent pace and get loot crates regularly, and all that's in them is a few different sprays and voice clips that's, let's be fair, no one gives a shit about. The only thing you might see is a nice extra rare skin, which again, to be honest, are not even that good. Like, most of the skins are nothing but palette swaps, and the 4 extra rare ones for every character are pretty meh. I mean, the only one I would gun for is Devil Mercy. So, as a casual audience, you won't really feel the effects of your will being tested. Unlike a game like Metal Gear Solid 5 that actively pushes for the base insurance and such, which does actively test a player's willpower. Here, it's like CSGO. These loot crates are not for casuals. They are for YouTubers and streamers who will buy a few before or during a stream to open up live on camera to brag about, or whatever they do, like they do in Team Fortress 2 with the loot crates or CSGO weapon boxes. Except, on CSGO, you can then bet your Sanju and P42 skins on the live market, lose them, and then come down with the skin insanity, like your boy, Stormandy. So yes, it's scummy, Blizzard. Shame on you for doing it. But at least you've been Fallout Shelter-ish about it, and it's not directly affecting anyone, unlike Dead Space 3, where that shit was right up in your grill, pretty much forcing you into it. So, AAA, take note. If it's a side thing in the background for some fluffy tat, like back in the old days, or like Smash Brothers, where you can get a new skin for your Mii, or a new character like Bayonetta, or like what Overwatch has done here, it's fucking scummy. You will be told off about it, but at least you did it the right way, and you will not be disqualified from any kind of award. However, if you're like Konami or EA, and you put that shit right up in our faces like Dead Space 3, forcing it upon everyone and breaking the game in the microtransactions' favour, then you will be scolded and disqualified. But with that being said, let's hop right into the final verdict. So, my final verdict for Tracer's arse, I mean Overwatch, is a fantastic 4 out of 5. Blizzard set out to make something for the consoles to rival Team Fortress 2, and they did, with the added bonus of also bringing it out on PC to see how many players they can steal from Team Fortress 2. And, as just stated, they did. The graphics are extremely colourful and a joy to look at. The characters are full of charm, personality and humour, and the gameplay, barring the stupid OP robot, is very well balanced. And like Team Fortress 2, it's just good, fast-paced, frantic, run-gun fun, especially if you go into the Mayhem mode servers. Of course, we do have to address the fact that they don't tell you you need a subscription when you do, so be very aware of that, and of course, the very scummy thing of adding microtransactions to a $60 game. But luckily, Blizzard is not EA and knows what they're doing, so it's not forced upon nor diminishes the gameplay experience, but it was still a bit scummy, but hey, Team Fortress 2 and CSGO have their loot crates for streamers, so fair is fair. You can have one too, I guess. But still, I have to tell you off. But again, the microtransactions are hidden and do not diminish the game in any way. Hell, they're not even on the Overwatch game at all. You have to actively go searching through the PSN store to find them. So, you don't have to worry about them. And I can say that even with them in, it's still an extremely fun game, and at this rate, depending on what else comes out this year, this is heading for a Game of the Year award. So if you can get a hold of this game and get a load of friends together, it's certainly worth the money and the year's subscription that you've also got to pay for.